Educational Communications and this station present Environmental Directions with Nancy Pearlman. On this series, we explore the effects of human influence on the Earth's ecosystems and discuss solutions to environmental problems which affect the quality of life on this planet. Environmental Directions gives you the kind of information you need to help you participate in decisions impacting your community, the nation, and the world. Now, here's your host, Nancy Pearlman.
Hello. We are going to be talking about pesticides and their impact on wildlife, people, pets, especially in the Santa Monica Mountains and throughout California, with my guest, Kian Schulman. She is a registered nurse and co-founder and director of Poison Free Malibu, and also with Joel Schulman, who is a theoretical physicist and co-founder of Poison Free Malibu. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Great. Thank you.
Kian, your work has been recognized by the city of Calabasas with the Carl Gibbs Environmental Excellence Award and the Malibu Chamber of Commerce Women's Leadership Andy Cohen Safety Award, because you are trying to protect your community from pesticides. Why is there a problem? What is going on?
The problem is that after researching what was going on since 2012, there was a mountain lion that died in our local Santa Monica Mountains here at Point Mugu State Park. When we inquired about why that mountain lion died, we were told it was rodenticides, which means rodent poisons. So that was the beginning of our query and our start of Poison Free Malibu, because we couldn't understand, how does a mountain lion who weighs over 100 pounds get killed by a mouse who weighs less than an ounce? What happened is that after we did a lot of research from UCLA, Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the National Park Service research papers, we found that 80 to 90% of our local wildlife here in the Santa Monica Mountains and beyond were being poisoned by rodent poisons, by these poison bait boxes that you see all around your communities, all around your homes, all around the HOAs, shopping malls, schools. This turns out to be the issue of what is going on. Because what is really going on is that they place the poisons in the box with attractants. The mouse goes into the box and does not die in the box. People think the animals die in the box, the rodents. They don't. They all leave the box as poison bombs. And they walk around for a good 10 days in a comatose, slow state, making easy prey for our predator wildlife. All of our predator wildlife that's being poisoned are the owls, the hawks, 90%, the coyotes, 80%, the bobcats, 90%. We're going all the way up to the mountain lions that have been poisoned. Of the past testing that was done on our mountain lions, the 39 local mountain lions that were recently tested, they all contained more than one rodent poison. This is the big problem, how to stop the poison bait boxes.
It's certainly a major problem. Joel, you helped co-found this organization, Poison Free Malibu. Were there not other wildlife groups, conservation groups, environmental groups taking on this major problem?
That's a really good question. What we found back in 2012, 2013, to our surprise, it actually was a well-known phenomenon among the scientists, especially in the Santa Monica Mountains. We have really excellent scientists, both at the National Park Service working with UCLA. We're coming up with these statistics. Then when we found out about this mountain lion in Point Mugu State Park, P25, when we started our inquiry, we asked the National Park Service scientists, what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing about this horror story? And they basically told us they cannot really advocate because they're government officials. Their hands are tied. So our role we took upon ourselves was to be the public face of educating the public and the legislators and city councils. We took on the role of getting the message out that the scientists, they didn't feel free to do. And yes, there were other groups who were starting to sense this, but not in the Santa Monica Mountains. We took on the role in the Santa Monica Mountains and went to 11 different cities.
Yes, we did.
And got them to pass resolutions coming out against the poisons. A major challenge we have is a state law passed in the late 1980s to protect the pesticide industry, where they forbid local government from regulating pesticides in any way, way, shape, or form. It's called preemption, pesticide preemption law. Therefore, all we could get out of our local cities were resolutions saying that the city itself would not use rodenticides on its own properties, but they and us were frustrated that they could not restrict the use of pesticides by private citizens and by industry. That's a major challenge we still have.
Is there any legislator introducing new legislation to try and change that law?
We have been working on laws for many years. A breakthrough that we had in 2020 is a law which we got through with the help of our Assemblyman Richard Bloom, our state senator Henry Stern, and Laura Friedman, who's in the Glendale area, state assemblywoman, banning, at least temporarily, the use of what are called second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides. They are the most studied. They are certainly very dangerous, but they're not exclusively the poisons that are causing the harm. They're just one of them, but they have been the most studied, and their damage to wildlife is the most documented at this point. So we were successful in getting legislation to heavily restrict those particular 4 types of rodenticides.
That was AB 1788.
Signed by the governor in January 2021.
And just recently, British Columbia also is following our example, and they are banning the second generation there also, which we're very happy to see that move along.
Also, Connecticut and Massachusetts.
That's right. They're all getting inspired by understanding what's going on, and the research that has been done here is tremendous and is absolutely essential. We have to thank our researchers because we would have nothing to bring to the assembly to say why these poisons are so bad. We need to support the researchers so we can have the understanding of the problems that these pesticides are causing.
Absolutely key. In fact, we recently were talking with a group in Texas called Texas Native Cats, who are extremely concerned. They have actually mountain lions and bobcats and other kinds of exotic wild cats, which is absolutely fascinating that we learned about. They also have problems with these wild animals being poisoned, but they do not have the studies. We were extremely fortunate here in the Santa Monica Mountains, UCLA and National Park Service. That's basically what we do. We take the science and when we go out to make change.
Yeah, and we're also hoping to move forward this preemption.
Preemption is the next stage.
It is the next stage to move this forward to free us all from the bounds of this law that was bought by the pesticide industry.
Here's a little background on that. This was in like the mid-1980s. Mendocino County was upset because its children in some locality were being sprayed by herbicides in this case. Mendocino County passed a law saying, hey, you can't do that. So the pesticide and agricultural industry sued. They sued Mendocino County. And it went up through several stages of the court system to the California Supreme Court, and Mendocino County won. So no problem. So the pest control lobbyists went to the legislature and bought a law just for themselves to negate the Supreme Court decision. At that time, I don't know if you know about preemption in general all over the United States. It's used to sort of suffocate local laws that local liberals, environmentalists, activists of various kinds trying to get for the locality, not just in terms of pesticides, but, for example, gay rights and workers' rights.
You are obviously up against a large, well-financed industry, but you're also up against people who don't understand the problem and seem to be bothered by having rats or some other rodents around and want to poison them. It seems as though you have to educate people about alternatives. I know both of you were educators in a segment in the film The Cat That Changed America. How do we change attitudes and educate people to alternatives, and what are those alternatives?
What we discovered, interestingly enough, after working in 10 plus cities around, that I'm a boots on the ground girl. I want to see what's going on, not just read about things. So I would sit in back of shopping malls where the dumpsters are and watch to see what was going on. When you go in back of your shopping mall right now, I will guarantee what you will see. The same thing that has been happening here, and that's why we have laws to make sure that doesn't happen. The problem is the dumpsters. The dumpsters that are exposed, the dumpsters have no lids. The dumpsters have lids that are pinned against the wall. The dumpsters have warped lids. Some dumpsters have no lids. Then we have dumpsters that are overflowing with food all over. We have unauthorized access. with our homeless and other people depositing their trash. It's a complicated problem with the dumpsters, and what happens is that when a resident or a business owner has a complaint that, oh, they saw a mouse or rat, yes, indeed, that's not a good idea, and they call a pest control company, and what the pest control company does is line the entire shopping mall with poison bait boxes, and especially around the exposed trash that's in back. They don't say a word about closing the trash, about don't overstuff, that this is an endless food supply of the rodents. This is not the situation. They come from an attitude of safety and protection, and they have this invisible barrier that's around that's going to protect what's going on. And actually what's going on is they're just contributing to this poison pump. These bait boxes are poison pumps. So the mouses eat the poison and are just pumped out into the nature. This is the situation of the problem. There's two basic problems that are happening out there, and it's easy A, B, and C. You have to seal up your home. That is one of the major problems, that we have got holes in your building and your home structure. You don't want the rodents in your home. They can cause a lot of destruction. So that's the number one thing. You have to look around your house and make sure it's all sealed up. And then you have to look around to see what your trash situation is. What are you doing to attract these animals to your property to an excessive degree? You have to remember that they are a natural source of food for the entire food chain out there. And to see a mouse or a rat, that's okay, because they live outside too. That's their home. But we don't want to be attracting them with bird feeders outside. We have to take them in at night, for example. We have to clean up the trash. It's just a matter of good housekeeping. We got it down to a science called repel, exclude, and deter. And that's how you're going to solve all of your issues without the use of any of these pesticides. It works.
Is there any sort of scientific study about how many wildlife species or individuals of each species are being killed by these pesticides and poisons?
Yeah, there's lots. It's a big topic of the scientific literature. Yeah, we have a small summary on our website, but there's hundreds of papers on this topic. It's basically, especially near the urban wildlife interface, like we are in the Santa Monica Mountains and Griffith Park and the Angeles National Forest, it's basically predators. We're talking about predator species like hawks and owls, bobcats, foxes, coyotes, mountain lions, raccoons, buzzards, turkey vultures, anything that either eats rodents directly or are then eaten. Like mountain lions get poisoned by eating coyotes and raccoons that have eaten poisoned mice. So that's a second level on the food chain. The basic statistics and studies after studies is it's 80 to 90% have some degree of poison in them. And what's really shows you what's happening is, like with mountain lions, the dominant number of different kinds of poisons is 4 or 5, 6 different kinds of poisons when they do autopsies, which gives you the correct feeling that basically mountain lions and these predators are living in an ocean of all kinds of rat poisons from multiple sources. And the amount that each individual has just depends on the bad luck that they've had. Predators are harvesting poisons from the thousands of mice and rats are the intended victim, and then the predator species harvest these incredible number of poisoned rodents that goes up the food chain.
You live in Malibu, which is considered an upscale community. Is this a similar problem in the poorer communities in Southern California?
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's really everywhere.
You named your organization after your community, but why not Poison-Free California, Poison-Free America?
You're so sweet. We started with Poison-Free Malibu, and we just started a new organization not long ago called CARP, Cities Against Rat Poisons. I realized at that time that we need to move on to other cities. So what we've done is we found wonderful people like yourselves that stepped up to the plate and said, I want to have a poison-free agora. So there is now a poison-free agora. There is now a poison-free Calabasas. We've got a poison-free Conejo Valley. We have a poison-free Topanga.
It's expanding, definitely.
It's definitely expanding. What we've done here in Malibu was that we have a lid lock ordinance, which means that all of our dumpsters have to be closed and locked 24/7. This is a remarkable example to pass on.
Is there a problem in places like downtown Los Angeles?
Downtown Los Angeles, which is frequently cited as having a problem, we like to use as an example of the failure of the poisoning technique. The existing situation is poisons have been allowed, and they've done absolutely nothing to improve the situation in downtown Los Angeles, which is very, very obviously due to trash. Trash control is the solution, and downtown Los Angeles is a big evidence for that.
Thank you so very much for making us aware of this problem and what we can do about it. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Nancy. It was a real pleasure talking with you.
I have been speaking with Kian Schulman, who is a registered nurse and co-founder and director of Poison Free Malibu, and Joel Schulman, a theoretical physicist and co-founder of Poison Free Malibu. I'm Nancy Perlman. Thank you very much for joining us, and do tune in again next week.
If you would like free information about these environmental issues, go to www.ecoprojects.org or call 310-559-9160. Environmental Directions with your host, Nancy Perlman, is a community affairs program of the nonprofit organization Educational Communications and this station.